Hey, this is Van. Welcome to the third video in our Wireshark class, which is Wireshark Basic Filters. Before we get started on our video, I've got one request. If you've liked these videos or if this content has been beneficial for you, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Let's go ahead and get started on Wireshark filters now. So why do we filter? Filters enable us to find things quickly. For instance, have you ever started a Wireshark capture and thought, okay, what do I do now? I see all these packets and there's just too much data. Well, if you've had that feeling, you need to filter. First of all, let's talk about capture versus display filters. I like to use display filters most of the time. It seems there's a lot of times for me when I find an issue, it sometimes isn't what I thought I was looking for. If you use capture filters only, then you may not capture some of the packets needed to solve your problem. Now, there are certain times when you do need to use a capture filter. For instance, if you've got a busy router or switch or server, and you may not have the processing power or disk space to capture everything, in these cases, you will want to use capture filters. So let's talk about some of the basic display filters. We can filter by protocols, such as TCP. I'm going to filter on TCP here, and everything I see is TCP packets. We can do UDP. As you notice from some of our coloring rules that we did previously, you can tell this is UDP. Next, we can do things like DNS. So I just type DNS and hit enter, and we filtered on DNS packets. We can also do ICMP if we want to see our ping packets or our traceroute packets. We can do things like MAC addresses. ETH.ADDR and filter by a MAC address. As you notice here, we've got colons in between each of the different parts of the MAC address. We can filter by ARP, hit enter, and we only see ARP requests. Or if we only want to see DHCP packets, then we can filter by DHCP. Right now in this capture that I'm looking at, there are no DHCP packets, is why we're not seeing any. So if we get a little bit more detailed with TCP, UDP, or IP, let's see what we can do. We can do TCP.port equals 80. This will show us all TCP packets with a port number of 80. We can do TCP.source port equals 80. It will show us all of the TCP packets with a source port of 80. If we change that, instead of doing TCP.src port equals 80, we can say TCP.dst port equals 80. And this will show us all of the packets with a TCP destination port of 80. UDP, we can do all the exact same things, and it's going to follow the same format. UDP.port, UDP.src port, and UDP.dst port. Let's change gears here to IP. We can type IP.ADDR equals, and in this case, let's say 192.168.1.1. So that's going to show us everything going to or from 192.168.1.1. If we wanted to only show packets where the source address was 192.168.1.1, we would simply type ip.src space equal 192.168.1.1 and hit enter. Now we will only see packets here with the source IP address of 192.168.1.1. If we wanted to change that, instead of source, if we wanted to show destination IP address, we could just type ip.dst equal 192.168.1.1 and hit enter. Now we're only showing things with the destination IP address of 192.168.1.1, as you can see here in the destination IP address column. So those are the basics of filtering. And I will see you on our next video, which will be Wireshark filter operators.